Dear students, welcome to the class. We were discussing coordination compounds. In the previous class, we have seen the nomenclature of coordination compounds. Whenever a formula is given, we have seen how to write the name of that complex. Okay. And we have to discuss few more complexes like bridge complexes. And let us, in today's class, let us also see whenever a name is given, how can we write the formula from the name. Suppose this is a bridge complex here. Okay, this NH2 is a bridging ligand that is acts as a bridge between these two cobalt. What is the central atom here? It's a bridging complex. There are two metal atoms that are bridged here with NH2. Okay, with NH2. So whenever there is a bridging ligand, how do we name them? I already told you when discussing the rules of IUPAC. We have to use mu to indicate the bridge ligand. What is the bridge ligand here? Amine. So amido, it's not amine, not NH3. This is NH2 minus. So mu amido. So while writing the remaining molecules, we have to use bis. So on either side, there are similar type of ligand, same metal atom. So we can use bis. Since there are 5 amines, here there are pentamine, cobalt. The oxidation state here is 3, 3. And what is the anion here? Nitrate. You have to write nitrate. Similar, one more example is this. So what is the central metal atom here? Iron. What is the ligand that is bridging these two iron? Carbonyl. This carbonyl is bridging between these two iron. How many bridging carbonyls are there? 3. 3 bridging carbonyls are there. So we have to use tri mu. Tri. Okay. We have to use tri mu carbonyl. Okay. Next, the remaining things, since on either side of this bridge ligand are same, we can use base. Tricarbonyl iron, since the oxidation state is 0, we can use 0. This is one more example of bridge ligand. Now let us see whenever a name is given, how do we write the formula from the name? This is also discussed when discussing the rules of the IUPAC. Let us see again. So while writing the formula of complexes, the complex ion should be enclosed in square brackets. Inside the square bracket, metal is written first, then the coordinated groups or ligands. How those ligands should be written? The order is first negative ligands, followed by neutral ligands, then positive ligands. Okay, let us see, take one example. Suppose this is the name of the ligand, this is the name of a complex. We have to write the formula from this name. So what is the condition? We have to write the complex ion in square bracket. Okay, square bracket is there. So inside the square bracket, first which atom should be written? First which metal should be written? What is the metal here? Cobalt. So cobalt is written here. Next, we have to write the ligands. If there are more than one ligand, what order we should follow? We have to write negative ligands and neutral ligands, then positive ligands. What are the ligands here? Amine means NH3 and nitro. Nitro means NO2. Among amine and nitro, which one is negative ligand? NO2, because amine is neutral. There is 0 charge on amine. And NO2 is -1 charge is there. So first what we have to write? First we have to write NO2, then amine, NH3. How many nitro groups are there? 3. Try 3. So you write 3 here. Then amine 3. Okay. This is the way you have to write the formula from a given name. Let us take one more example here. Potassium hexacyanoferrate. So potassium is the cation, and remaining the whole hexacyanoferrate 2 is anion here. So what we have to write? We have to write the potassium first. Then while writing the complex ion, what is the metal atom here? Ferrate, that is iron, Fe. And what are the ligands here? We have only one ligand here, that is cyanido or cyano. So Cn. How many ligands are there? 6. 6 we have written. Now how to write the number of potassiums here? How to write the number? This can be written from this oxidation state. What is the oxidation state here? 2. 2. And this is 8. Okay, let me take up. What is the oxidation state here? 2. And what is the name here? 8. This indicates this coordination sphere is negatively charged. Obviously, potassium is a cation, means this should be anion. So what is the charge on the complex? If you write complex separately, what is the charge? Minus 2. Okay, what is the charge on say cyano? Minus 1. How many cyanos are there? 6. So this is minus 6. Okay, 6 minus 2 is 4. That means there should be 4 cations to satisfy the valency of this coordination sphere. This is how you have to write the number of cations here. Okay, understood? So this is about nomenclature of coordinate complexes. We have seen how to write the name from a formula, and also we have seen how to write the formula from a name. Okay. Now let us go to the Werner's theory, Werner's coordination theory. Werner is a famous scientist. He is also known as he is the father of coordination chemistry. For his work in explaining the bonding in coordination compounds, he is given that title. So let us see the most important postulates of Werner's coordination theory. According to Werner, in coordination compounds, the metal atoms exhibit two types of valencies. One is primary valency, another one is secondary valency. How many types of valencies? Two types. Primary valency and secondary valency. Primary valency is ionizable and is non-directional. You have to remember this one. It is ionizable and ionizable. It is ionizable and non-directional. And this primary valency is equal to the number of charges on the complex ion. And also it corresponds to the oxidation state of the central atom. Primary valency is ionizable, non-directional, and it is equal to the oxidation state of the central metal atom. Whereas the secondary valency is non-ionizable and is directional. The secondary valency equals to the coordination number. Coordination number means number of donor atoms that are forming coordinate covalent bond with the central metal atom. That is equal to the secondary valency. The secondary valencies are directed towards fixed position in space, and that this leads to definite geometry of the coordinate compound. For example, if the secondary valency is 4, you can say that the geometry of the complex is square planar. If the secondary valency is 6, the geometry of the complex is octahedral. The metal atoms, they tend to satisfy both primary and secondary valency. Primary valencies are satisfied by only negative ions. Whereas secondary valencies are satisfied by both negative and neutral atoms. Sometimes the negative ions, they satisfy both primary valency and secondary valency. Let us see one example. Let us take coordinate cobalt complex here. Let us take this one. So Werner has taken this example and studied the various possible valencies for this complex. If you see this complex here, primary valency means ionizable valency. It should be ionizable. When we ionize this complex, so what are the ions formed? We will get 3 chloride ions, and this whole complex will be cation. So what is the primary valency? These chloride ions, that these are ionizable, these are the primary valency. And 6 ammonia are secondary valencies. And primary valency is equal to the oxidation state of the central metal atom. Since there are 3 chloride ions, means the oxidation state is +3. Primary valency is 3 in these type of complexes. Werner studied and explained the structure of series of cobaltamine complexes. In these cobaltamine complexes, cobalt exhibits, in all these complexes, cobalt exhibits 3 valency. Primary valency is 3, that is the oxidation state of the cobalt, and the secondary valency is 6, that is a coordination number. Always remember, primary valency is in Werner complexes shown with dotted lines, and the secondary valencies are shown by thick lines. So what happened is Werner has taken different stoichiometric of these combinations, and then he treated this with silver nitrate solution, and he found that there is a formation of AgCl precipitate. Then he weighed that precipitate of AgCl. Okay, he has taken 6 ammonia molecules, 6, 5. He has reduced the ammonia molecules and then allowed these complexes to react with silver nitrate. When the silver nitrate is allowed to react with this, if there is a ionizable chlorine, it will react with silver nitrate and forms AgCl. Let us see. This is the Werner complex. This is the first complex. He has taken 6 ammonia molecules. When he treated this with AgCl, he found that there are 3 moles of silver nitrate is precipitated out. This means 3 chloride ions are easily available that should be outside the sphere, that are ionizable. So when we write 3 chloride ions outside, means we have to write the complex like this. Write the coordination sphere. Since 3 molecules of AgNO3 is formed here, means 3 chloride ions are freely available when we ionize this complex, means 3 chloride ions should be outside, Cl3. And this whole coordination sphere ionizes as a cation. So what are the total number of ions here when we ionize this? This whole coordination sphere is a cation, that is 1 ion, and remaining 3 chloride ions, means total 4 ions. Out of these 4 ions, how many number of chloride are there? 3, Cl3. Since these are chloride or outside, they are easily available for the reaction with AgNO3. Therefore, 3 moles of AgCl, not AgCl, 3 moles of AgCl are formed when we allow these complex to react with AgNO3. So this is the Werner's formula. This is Werner's formula, and this is the geometry according to Werner's theory. How do we write the geometry of the complex? Since the coordination number is 6. How many ligands are there? 6. Means 6 is the secondary valency. As I said, secondary valency should be shown with a thick line. See here, all the ammonias are shown with a thick lines. And the primary valency, that is ionizable valency, that is chloride, it should be shown with a dotted lines here. See here, dotted lines. 3 chlorides are indicated with dotted lines, that is a primary valency. Since the coordination number is 6, according to Werner, the geometry is octahedron. Now, when ammonia molecule is reduced here, the Werner's formula is this. When one molecule of ammonia is reduced, a complex formed is treated when treated with AgNO3. Then it was found that only 2 moles of AgCl is precipitated out. That means 2 chloride ions are only available outside the sphere. Okay, means they are easily available, are ionizable, and they should be outside the sphere. When we write 2 chloride ions outside the sphere, since the coordination number of cobalt is, this is cobalt. Okay, let me correct this one. This is, since the coordination number of cobalt is 6, to satisfy the secondary valency here, one of the chloride will be having a dual character, that is, it will satisfy both secondary valency and primary valency here. Okay, so when we write this Werner's formula, the how many ligands are there? 5. These 5 will be this 5 and 6. This is having a dual character now. It will satisfy both primary valency and secondary valency. So these two will be shown with the dotted lines here. See here. But this chloride, since it is satisfying both the valencies, it is shown with solid line, that is shows secondary valency, and also dotted line that is that will be showing primary valency. Okay. Now let us take this complex now. Here in this complex, when this complex is treated with AgNO3, only 1 mole of AgCl is precipitated out. That means only one chloride ion is available. When we ionize this complex, means one chloride ion is available, means the 2 chlorine atoms, those were in outside in the previous one, in this first case, should be inside now to satisfy the secondary valency. Means these chloride ions will satisfy both the primary valency and the secondary valency now. And see here, when we write the Werner complex like this only one chloride should be shown with a dotted line, and the remaining 2 chlorides, since they are satisfying both the valencies, we have to show with a dotted line and thick line. Okay, and the last one is this one. Since when this complex is treated with AgNO3, there is no precipitation, indicates no Cl or chloride ions are available outside the sphere. So all the chloride ions should be inside the sphere. This indicates that these 3 chlorides are behaving dually. They are showing both primary valency and secondary valency. See here, this is the Werner complex. The 3 ammonia, they show only secondary valency, whereas these 3 chloride ions, they are showing both primary valency and secondary valency. Okay, this is how you have to show the Werner's complex. This is about Werner's theory. Now let us see another theory, that is Sidgwick's theory. Sidgwick's theory is electron interpretation, and he has given EAN rule. According to Sidgwick, he has made this observation that in a number of metal complexes, the metal atom always tends to surround itself with sufficient number of ligands such that its effective atomic number is equal to the atomic number of noble gas found in that same period. For example, EAN can be calculated like this. EAN is equal to number of electrons in metal atom plus number of electrons donated by CO group. Number of electrons present in metal atom in that coordination sphere. For example, let us take this example. Okay, in calculating the EAN. What is the oxidation state of the cobalt here? Okay, first, what is atomic number of cobalt? 27, means 27 electrons are there in the cobalt. But is this the number of electrons here? No, because we have to take the oxidation state of that cobalt in this ionic sphere. In this ionic sphere, the oxidation state of this cobalt is +3. +3 means we have to remove 3 electrons from ground state cobalt. Actual number of electrons is, atomic number is means number of electrons 27. When we remove 3 electrons from these, it will come to 24. So now apply this formula. EAN is equal to number of electrons in metal atom plus number of electrons donated by CO groups. What is the number of electrons in metal atom, in the central metal atom in the coordination sphere? 24. What are the number of electrons donated by CO? Each CO donated by, okay, donated by ligand groups, not CO here, donated by ligand groups. Each ligand, that is ammonia molecule, will be donating 2 electrons. How many ammonia are there? 6. So 2 into 6, it is equal to 36, and it is equal to the same, it is equal to the atomic number of the krypton that is found in that same period of cobalt. Hence, according to EAN rule, this complex is stable. This complex is stable. According to Sidgwick, if the effective atomic number in a complex is equal to 36 or 54 and 86, that is, if the atomic number is found to the near atomic number of the noble gas in the same period, then that such type of complexes are stable according to Sidgwick. Let us take few more examples here. Here, if you see this complex, what is the central metal atom here? Chromium. Atomic number of central metal atom is 24. That means number of electrons here is 24. Since CO, this is a ligand here. Okay, this is a ligand here. What is the oxidation state of CO? This ligand 0. Therefore, chromium oxidation state is also 0. Therefore, we can take the number of atomic number as a number of electrons present in that central metal atom, that is 24. Now, how many ligands are there? How many ligands are there? 6. So, what is EAN? From the above formula, number of electrons in metal atom plus number of electrons donated by ligand groups. So, number of electrons in metal atoms are 24 and electrons gained from the ligand are 12, because each carbonyl will be giving 2 electrons. So, 2 into 6, 12. So, what now 24 plus 12 is 36. That is krypton, means this is stable complex. Similarly, you can note down these complexes and calculate the EAN. For example, this one, let us take this one also. In this one, the central metal atom is iron, and the oxidation state, I have already told you the formula how to calculate the oxidation state. Use the formula and write the oxidation state of the metal. If you use that formula and calculate the oxidation state here, it will become to +2. How +2? 6 cyano ligands are there. Each cyano is having -1 charge, -6 and plus and minus of -4, then +2. So atomic number of this iron is 26. Now since +2 is a charge, the number of electrons in the metal atom now becomes 24. We have to remove 2 electrons because the charge is +2 here. And the number of electrons gained by ligands is 12. That is, how many ligands are there? 6. Each ligand will donate 2 lone pairs of electron. 2 into 6, 12. Therefore, 24 plus 12 is 36. Here, in this also, iron 0 is the oxidation state, atomic number 26, number of electrons 26. Since 5 are the number of ligands here, 2 into 5, 10, 26 plus 10, 36. Here, the oxidation state is +3 here, see, +3. Atomic number of cobalt is 27. Since oxidation state is +3, you have to remove 3 electrons here, and that will become 24. And how many ligands are there? How many ammonium molecules are there? 6. Means 2 into 6, 12. 24 plus 12 is 36. Here, platinum +4, 78 atomic number. Remove 4 electrons, 74. 6 ligands are there. 16 to 2, 12. 74 plus 12, 86. Okay, that is the atomic number of radon. Since platinum is in the radon period, since its atomic number is equal to radon, since its EAN is equal to radon atomic number, this complex is also stable according to Sidgwick. Take this example here, oxidation state, if you calculate, it will come to +4, 78 atomic number, +4 means you have to remove 4 electrons, 74, plus how many ligands? 6, 2 into 6, 12, 86. 74 plus 12, 86. Palladium +4. Here it should be +2 now. You have to make a correction here. Palladium, 6 cyano groups, and it's a +2. It will come to, so when here it should be +2. So palladium +4, atomic number is 46. Since 4 is oxidation state, so you have to remove 4 electrons here, and 6 is the coordination number, 12, 54. Here iron +3, 26, 23 number of electrons present in iron +3 plus 12, that comes to 35. Means here, see here this is not equal to krypton atomic number. So according to Sidgwick, see here this one, according to Sidgwick, this complex should be unstable. And this one, nickel plus 2, 28 is atomic number, plus 2 means remove 2 electrons, 26, 2 into 6, 12, 26 plus 12, 38. 38 is also not equal to krypton. Therefore, according to Sedgwick, this also should be not stable. Palladium plus 2. So atomic number 46. Number of electrons here, you have to remove 2 electrons, 44. Electrons gained are 8. See here, what is the coordination number here? 4. 4 means 2 into 4, 8. 44 plus 8, 52. This is also not equal to noble gas atomic number. Platinum plus 2 in this case, 78. Remove 2 electrons, 76. How many ligands? 4 means 2 into 4, 8. 76 plus 8, 84. This is also not stable. Chromium plus 3, atomic number 24. Number of electrons, remove 3 electrons here. Since plus 3 is a charge, remove 3 electrons, 21. Electrons, how many electrons it is gaining? 12 electrons. 6 into 2, 12. 21 plus 12, 33. Okay, this is how you have to calculate the EAN. But according to Sedgwick, in these cases, we have seen that in these last complexes, since this is not equal to the atomic number of the noble gas, these complexes should be not stable. But experimentally, it was found that these complexes are stable. Means Sedgwick is not able to explain the stability of all the complexes based on EAN. The central metal, these are the limitations of Sedgwick's EAN rule. The central metal ion accepts a pair of electrons from each donor atom of the ligand. Hence, of the formation of complex compound, large negative charge is expected to be accumulated on the central metal atom. But that is not happening here. This I will be explaining in metal carbonyls also, how these complexes are stabilized when there is a formation of coordinate covalent bond is whenever there is a donation of electron pair from the ligand to the metal, what will happen on the metal? Large number of electrons are accumulating on the metal or surrounding the metal atom. Okay, large number of negative charge. This will should increase the electron repulsion. This should destabilize that complex, but that is not true, because in such complexes what is happening is there is a back donation of electrons from metal to the empty orbitals of ligands. That is not explained by Sedgwick. As per Sedgwick theory, the metal ligand bonds are all coordinate covalent bonds, but in some cases it is also possible ionic bond, and in some cases covalent bond is also possible. That is not explained by Sedgwick. And according to Sedgwick, some of the stable complexes, they are not obeying EAN. We have seen in the previous table that few of the complexes are not obeying EAN. For example, this I have already explained in the EAN. This is showing EAN of 35. That is not equal to the noble gas atomic number krypton. Krypton is 36 in the same period of iron. Means according to Sedgwick, it should be unstable, but experimentally it was found that this is a very stable complex. One more example is this. One more example is some of the complexes, they obey EAN, but they are not stable as expected. For example, this one, iron hexacyano. This complex is hexacyanoferrate 2. According to EAN, since EAN is according to EAN rule, this complex should be stable because EAN is equal to 36, but it is not as expected. Means these are the few limitations of Sedgwick. Sedgwick is not able to completely explain the stability of the complexes. So because since each theory will have certain limitations, there are many people, they will come up with many theories to explain the metal ligand coordination bond or bonding in the metal complexes. Few of such theories of metal ligand bonding are valence bond theory, crystal field theory, and molecular orbital theory. These are the modern theories that have developed to explain the nature of metal ligand bond involved in the coordination compounds. Involved in the coordination compounds, geometrical and magnetic properties. We will be In our syllabus, we are having valence bond theory, so we will be studying in detail about valence bond theory. So this theory was proposed by Linus Pauling in 1931 to explain the bonding in metal and ligand. The main postulates of this theory are as follows. According to this theory, the central metal atom should provide a sufficient number of empty orbitals equal to the formation of, equal to the number of coordination, equal to the number of ligands, or equal to the donor atoms that are coordinated with the central metal atom. So what is the most basic requirement according to VBT? The central metal atom should have empty orbitals equal to the coordination number. And these empty orbitals should be hybridized to form equivalent number of hybrid orbitals. These hybrid orbitals are directed towards the ligand position such that the whole complex will get a particular geometry. In this hybridization of orbitals, empty orbitals, if ND orbitals are involved, such type of complexes are known as outer orbital complexes. If n-1d inner orbitals are involved in the hybridization, such type of complexes are called inner orbital complexes. The ligand should contain at least one lone pair of electrons. That is a basic requirement. We all know that for the formation of a complex compound. The empty orbitals metal atom overlap with the fully filled orbitals of the ligand to form ligand metal coordinate bond. So we can also say that the formation of coordination compound as the interaction is similar to the interaction between acid and base. Here central metal atom is Lewis acid and the ligand is Lewis base. Central metal atom is accepting electrons. Since it is accepting electrons, we can say that it is a Lewis acid. Since ligand is donating electron, we can say that it's a Lewis base. So these are the postulates of valence bond theory. In the next class, we will be studying how the geometries can be derived and how the magnetic properties can be explained based on these postulates. So dear students, we will stop for today. Thank you all.